Hello everybody, welcome to this next video on linear algebra. In the last video we saw that if you can write V as T invariant direct sum decomposition of some subspecies, then T has a representation which is block diagonal representation, right? So now we will try to find out the conditions on your operator T. So under what conditions on T, under what conditions on T, okay, you get a T invariant direct sum decomposition of V. So that is our question, and that will be answered by this theorem which is called primary decomposition theorem. So it will be answered by primary decomposition theorem, right? So for that primary decomposition theorem we need two more theorems. So this part 1 here, I have written part 1 here. I'll be proving a theorem, and in part 2 also, that is in the next video, I'll be proving another theorem, and both these theorems will be used to prove the primary decomposition theorem. So when we will discuss primary decomposition theorem, again we will discuss this thing. So the theorem which we are doing in this video is, the statement is like this: suppose T from V to V is linear. Suppose T from V to V is linear, and suppose f of t is a polynomial which is being satisfied by t, that is f of capital T is a zero operator, and further let f of t is factorized as gt into ht, where gt and ht are relatively prime. gt and ht are prime, it means that there is nothing common GCD is 1. Then V is direct sum of the T invariant subspaces U and W, where U is kernel of GT and V is kernel of HT. So let me tell you what we are saying here in this statement. So you read it carefully. So what we are saying here, that you have V here and V here, T is from V to V, and you have FT, F is a polynomial, FT, which is equal to GT into HT, where these are relatively prime. It means that GCD of GT and HT is 1, right? And we have f is being satisfied by t, that is f of t is a zero operator. Then we are saying that this space here can be written as U direct sum W, where U and W are T invariant. And what is U? U is kernel of GT and W is kernel of HT. Is that thing clear? So this is the meaning of this theorem. This is what we will prove. So if you remember, we have already proved this thing, that U and W are T invariant subspaces. So let us go to the proof. Let me write down. We have already proved the following result. We have already, you can scroll back some videos. We have already proved the following result, which is, if T from V to V be any linear operator, and ft be a polynomial, be any polynomial, then kernel of ft is t invariant. This is what we have already proved. So therefore u, which is kernel of gt, and w, which is kernel of ht, both are t invariant subspaces. Now you need to prove, so the only thing left to prove is the following. What we need to prove? That v is u direct sum w. So for that you have to prove that every element v in v is u plus w, and moreover that representation is unique. So this is what we have to prove. And what is given? Given is that GCD is 1. GT and HT, they have GCD 1. So let me write down. Given that GCD of GT and HT is 1, it means that if you know the results from this GCD it means that there exist polynomials RT and ST such that RT into GT plus ST into HT equal to 1. You can please see this result. Whenever the GCD is 1, you can always do that. So hence I can write R, if I substitute T for small t, so I'll get RT GT plus ST HT equal to identity. Okay, so I have just substitute capital T, which is your operator, in place of T, and right hand side will become identity. So for any V belongs to V, I can apply I of V will be, in place of I will write this thing, RT GT plus ST HT V. So I get V is equal to RT GT V plus ST HT V. Now you see why we are using this result, because the only information available with us in the theorem is that GT and HT, they are relatively prime, and we know that this one will introduce the identity operator, and I can then operate it on V to get V as sum of two quantities. Then I will try to see if these quantities belong to U and W separately. Right? Now let us see look at the first quantity here. Okay, so this RT GT V, let us look at this quantity. If I apply HT, okay, why I am applying HT? Because already GT is there. If I apply HT, what you will get? You will get, now because these are polynomials, so commutativity is there. So you can write it as GT, RT, GT, and then HT V. Now what is this? This is FT, because FT is GT HT. So this is RT FT V. Now what is FT? FT is 0. You see, FT is 0. It is given in the theorem statement that FT is 0. Right? So you have FT equal to 0. So this is RT, 0 operator on V. So you get 0. So it means that if you apply on this num element HT, you are getting 0. It means that this particular element here belongs to kernel of HT. So this, it implies RT GT V belongs to kernel of HT. Now what is kernel of HT? You are calling this space as W. You see, this was your W. Right. So this is W. It means that the first element belongs to W. So you prove that this element here belongs to W. Now let us see if this element belongs to U. Right. So for that you will apply GT here. So you will get GT ST HT V. So that will be ST GT HT V. Now this is FT. So this is ST FT V. This is 0. So this is ST0V, so you get a 0. It means that when you apply GT on this, you get a 0. Therefore, this particular element here, STHTV, belongs to kernel of GT, which is your U. So it means that this belongs to U. So we get that, therefore we get, V can be written as RT GT V plus ST HT V, where this element here, this element belongs to U and this belongs to W, right? So we get that V is U plus W. Now we need to prove that the sum is direct. The only thing left is you have to prove that sum is direct. The only thing which is to be proved, which is left, is to prove that the sum is direct. So what you can do, you just, if we somehow can prove that whatever is this component here and whatever is this component here is uniquely determined by V only, then we are done. So let V equal to U plus W, where U belongs to U and W belongs to W, right? Now here you apply RT-GT. It will be clear in a moment why we are doing so. So if you apply RT-GT, what will happen? You will get RT-GT V is equal to RT-GT U plus RT-GT W, right? Now you see, what is this? Can you see what is this? Now U belongs to U, which is kernel of GT. Therefore this quantity here is 0. So you get RT GT V is equal to RT GT W. So this quantity here is 0, right? So you get it like this. Now further, you also have RT GT plus ST HT is equal to identity. Now you apply it on U. So you'll get RT GT plus ST HT applied on W is IW. So you get RT GT plus W plus ST HT W equal to W. Now what is this? W belongs to W, which is kernel of HT. Therefore this quantity here is 0. So you get RT GT W is equal to W. So from 1 and 2, you see W is equal to RT GT W, which is this, which is equal to this. So from 1 and 2, you get W is equal to RT GT of V. It means that if you fix V, these are already fixed, right? So if you fix V, there is only one choice of W, right? Similarly, this analysis can be done here in place of RT HT. If you start with ST HT in place of RT GT, if you start with ST HT, you will be able to prove that if you fix V, there is only one choice of U. It means that sum is unique. Therefore V is direct sum of U and W, right? So this is how you prove this theorem, and in the next video also we will prove some other theorem, and after that we will be using these theorems to prove an important result, which is primary decomposition theorem, here. Okay, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe to this channel and share this video.